universities. So basically, for example, if you're taking Composition 1, it will transfer as Composition 1 to any of our public Kansas institutions. So if you go to WSU or KU, K-State, Emporia, Butler, it's going to transfer as that class. Okay? If you look at the front of the pamphlets that are being passed out, you can see that our tuition rate is now $80 per credit hour. So if you're taking, I think usually our classes are 3 credit hour classes. I think like physics or calculus or, I'm trying to think of another one, chemistry are 5 credit hour classes. So a 3 credit hour class like composition or public speaking is going to be $240. Ooh, I haven't done the math for a 5 credit hour class. I think it's $320. Anyone really good at math? It's 5 times 80. $400. I'm sorry. It's 8 o'clock. My math brain's not on yet. Okay, but anyways, that covers the cost of classes. $240 and $400 to $400 sounds like a lot, but on the back of this pamphlet, I made a cute little table to compare college tuition prices for everyone. But this is based off of a 3 credit hour class. So if you can see, I did an average of like 5 or so community colleges in Kansas, as well as a few universities in Kansas, of what a 3 credit hour class will cost. And that is without fees. So when you pay for a class, dual credit class through WSU Tech, it's just a straight $240 or $400. There's no extra fees tacked on it. That's all you pay. But when you look at this table, that's basically just the base pay of what you pay when you go to a college or university. What they do later when you go into the college is they'll add on fees, like parking fees, gym fees, book rentals. It just adds up for one 3 credit hour class. So easily, if you go to a university or even out of state, let's not even talk about that, it's going to cost easily over $1,000 for one 3 credit hour class. And usually a full semester is about 12 to 15 credits per semester. So it puts $240 to $400 like way down there. If you open up these pamphlets, I'm going to quickly go over the instructions on how to enroll in your dual credit classes. We were going to show a beautiful display of our new enrollment process, but we were having technical difficulties, and right now there's just I don't know, is that Jackson Pollock or something? I don't know. And I will not do an interpretive dance on how this thing looks like. But the first step is you're going to go to the My Jumpstart website. How many of you have taken dual credit classes with us before? I know a lot of you have. Oh gosh. Okay, so here's the fun thing. We have a brand new process for the high school students. So for new people, you don't need, you're just going through this whole thing 1 through 5. It's great. But for our old students, you are also going through steps 1 through 5. You have to reapply. But it's through our new high school system. Okay, so previously, so for former, I don't want to say former students, you're still current students with us, but the ones who have taken classes with us before, you remember the application process. You had to go through like 600 tabs and fill out like a million different things that didn't really pertain to high school students. Now it's all on one page when you go into the application process, and it will just merge the new high school dashboard with our old one, is all it does. If you have any issues with it, just give me an email. My contact information is in this pamphlet. So anyways, like I said earlier, the new application process, once you click that you're a high school student and create a new application, it's all on one page. You do need your social security number. And once you hit submit, excuse me. Once you hit submit, it takes you straight to your dashboard. So previously, you kind of had to log back in and try to remember the password you created like 5 seconds ago. Now it doesn't do that. You don't have to worry about that. But please do write down your password or put it in an app or something, whatever you use. And once you see your dashboard, everything you need to do is right on the front page with like giant buttons. Like you don't have to search through a bunch of text to find where you need to go. So that moves on to step 2, which is uploading your supporting documents. Okay, so a lot of these classes for general education require a minimum GPA, as well as eligibility requirements. So if you're taking composition or college algebra or chemistry, and I can't think of any other classes, can you? Okay. Those will require ACT scores. If you haven't taken your ACT, then we do ask that you provide your transcript, and it shows that we received an A or a B in your previous English, math, or science class. There's a link for eligibility when you get to that step to see more about that. Step 3 is Ferpa. It says optional on there, but for general education students, I highly recommend our students fill out the consent to release form. Our students who've taken classes with us will know about this, but basically what Ferpa is, it's a federal law that states that when you're enrolled as a WSU Tech student, you're considered an adult, even though you're high school students. So basically, you are the only one with access to your grades, your bills, etc. So what the consent to release form is that you are giving permission to your parent or guardian to view your grades and pay your bill. Okay, we've had a lot of issues in the past where students didn't fill out the Ferpa consent to release form, and a parent would try calling the business office to try to pay for their classes, and the business office says we're not allowed to give that information out because that Ferpa consent form was not complete. And we had a lot of headaches over that, so let's prevent that and just fill that out, okay? Step 4 is selecting your classes. There will be another button where you can enroll in classes. Valley Center High School should show up after you finish your application, but you just want to double check and make sure Valley Center is selected, and all the classes for dual credit will populate under that section. I believe, let's see, I think Kristen and Melissa are back there, and I'm calling them out, but do we know if that math class is corrected? Okay, thanks. So I'm pretty sure it's corrected, but there is one college algebra class that's listed under Michelle Lang, but it should be Joyle. We did send in the correction. It should still be the same class. So if you do see that for your college algebra class, just make sure you click that one. It will update if it hasn't already. That's the only disclaimer there. Okay. So choosing your classes should be easy. You can click it and then you hit submit. If you forgot one, you can always go back in later and resubmit a class. And then that moves on to step 5, which is payment. There are 3 different ways to pay. The first one is paying online. So for our students who've taken classes with us before, unfortunately the payments have not merged to our new system, so you will know how to pay online because you have your information to log into the old system. For new students, we highly recommend you just call the business office during business hours and pay online over the phone. You can also pay in person at any of our campuses during business office hours with cash, check, or credit card. Another thing you can do is set up a payment plan. So you can set up a payment plan that's really hard to say really fast, payment plan in person, but you can also call or email them and they can send you an agreement plan to sign and make arrangements. I believe the business office wants you all to make sure you have your payments settled, as in pay in full, or set up a payment plan within the first 2 to 4 weeks of enrollment. So try to get that done by the first week of September. As far as a due date on completing your enrollment, I've been giving all the schools a week from the date of our presentation. So the due date of getting all of this enrollment completed is going to be next Wednesday, August 25th. I've got a spot at the front. You can write that down so you don't forget, if you have a pen or pencil. Yes. And then if anyone needs help, Shelby down here will be at a table during your lunch hours on the 23rd and 24th. Okay, just in case you need any help or assistance or any of that. Okay. Another thing you can do, if you want to check your status with enrollment after you've completed all that, you can always log back in and go to check your status. There's different statuses. So basically, after you select your classes, it will say that you have applied. After you've submitted your transcripts and any other documents, and your counselor or me or someone on our staff has checked it, then it will go into an approval status. And then after that, it will go into an applied status. So once it says applied, you're already enrolled and everything's all done. A big thing that I tell our general education students is that college, if you do feel like sometime at midterm that you're not doing well in this class, or you decide maybe this wasn't a class for you, do pay attention to drop dates. Those should be listed in your class syllabi. There are 2 drop dates to pay attention to. The first one is a drop date on the last day to get a full refund, and the second drop date is a drop date to get a W as a grade instead of a failing grade. Okay, so a W would not affect your college transcript, just in case I'm thinking anything else. So inside the pamphlet on that second page, it does have my email. If anyone has any questions and you can't remember anything right off the bat today, it's the Learning Services email. Any business-related questions will go towards the business office. Their contact information is on the bottom there as well. If any of you cannot remember anything I say today, or you have any other questions that you don't want to ask me, there is a QR code and link on the back of this pamphlet. You can go to our Google website, and it explains everything I just said today, as well as the instructions to enroll a little bit more detailed. Okay, and I think we have a video on how to upload documents that will be on there pretty soon. And that's all. I'm going to pass this off to Kristen.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Are there any questions right now that you're thinking about and you're like, oh, I need to email them? All right, that's awesome. Okay, I have a couple reminders. So there are a couple classes that if you are taking here, you must enroll through WSU Tech as well. So if you are in College Credit Senior English, College Credit Speech, or College Credit Government, we do not offer the opportunity for you to opt out of the dual credit portion. You must be enrolled through WSU Tech as well. So it is very important that you do go through this process, in those classes especially. If you are in a class, not one of those, and you forget to enroll through WSU Tech and for the dual credit, we can't go back and retroactive give you that credit. So you must enroll, okay? And I will go through and I will remind every single class that that is the case. Also, as it was said before, the amazing price that you guys get for the dual credit, $240 for 3 credit hours, is amazing. If you do have to do the payment plan, just know that there is a $30 fee to set up that payment plan. Not a problem. Just expect that there is, and if there isn't, then that's great. But just expect that there is that $30. Okay? I saw a hand. Yes. If you are taking Principles of Management, that is a free class. You'll do this semester. We'll have another reminder dual credit meeting for the next semester. Good questions. Anything else? Yes.
Okay. So the general education credits are guaranteed to transfer in Kansas and in public universities. A lot of these classes do transfer to our private universities, like Composition 1 in college algebra or in psychology. For example, if you're going to out-of-state colleges, usually our neighboring states, especially Midwestern states, they usually transfer as that class. I usually tell students as you move farther away from Kansas, it's less likely to transfer, but it's always, you can always check with that college, contact their registrar, and what they'll do is they'll request our syllabus, and they'll just compare it with their course standards, and we can work with them to make sure that you get the credit. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't, but usually we haven't had any issues comparing our syllabuses with theirs.
A couple other reminders. I will be around in some of the classes. I know I will be in the senior English classes to help set up and walk through the enrollment process. But if you have questions, I will also have a table set up at all the lunches that I can help you walk through this process. But I do want you to know that you do need to know your social security number. So make sure that you have that so that we can go through this process and not have to pause and wait to get that. And then lastly, who in here is in pre-calc? Nice, a lot of you. Okay, for you, go through the application process, but hold off on getting enrolled in this specific class until either I talk to you or Ms. Doyle talks to you. Okay, so go through the application process, but don't get in your class yet. Okay? All right. We are 5 minutes early. Any other questions? Ms. Sika, is there anything else you can think of?
Yes. Oh, yes. And also, Ms. Seacat is correct. There is a section, little square, I don't know what we call it, a box, that asks for parental consent. So in the past, we used to have the paper forms, and your parents had to sign that they gave permission for you to take dual credit classes. Now it's all online. If you're doing the application process and your parent is right there, you can have them click and sign on the screen or with your mouse. It's all digital. Or if they're not with you at the moment, there is, like Mrs. Seacat said, a prompt to send your parent an email, and then they will sign off through their email.
All right, if there are no other questions, I will just have you stay seated. You can talk amongst yourselves, but if you think of any questions, please let us know now so we can address everybody at once.